Hello and good evening. I'm Dr. Lexi Lane, and this is the Get Your Spark Back channel. And I want to welcome you. And tonight we're going to be talking about micro resting. So, do you know the term micro quitting, where you're overwhelmed, you're exhausted, maybe you are showing up a little bit later to work, you are leaving a little bit earlier, or going home earlier from work, or you're backing off because you just don't want to work so hard? This is signs and symptoms of what we're going to call burnout. But micro quitting is in the corporate culture. It's a term that people are using, and there's something to be said for it because we need to rest and recover. And people are finding ways and creative ways to do that and not work themselves so hard for so many hours trying to keep up with the rat race. And what they're doing is they're sacrificing their health and they're sacrificing their family time, and this is not good. So people are trying to figure out ways to preserve their health and their well-being and preserve their relationships, but also keep their jobs. And so what I want to talk about tonight is micro resting. So I am an athlete, and we do rest and recovery days where we are not training full blown at our hardest or our strongest or the fastest pace. And the reason why is because if you do that for every single training session, you are going to break your body down. And if you are a CrossFitter or you like to lift weights, perhaps you are doing a heavy weight and you're trying to hold that weight for too long. And then what's going to happen is you're going to get to muscle failure. And if you're not careful, you're going to get injured. And we want to sustain your athleticism by preventing you from getting injured or overtraining. So, similar concept. We don't want you to feel like you're being overworked or overburdened by whatever it is that you're doing in your day to day life. So, this whole idea of sustainable success is that I want you to be successful and I want you to do well in the work that you were designed to do. And I want you to do it in such a way that you have your health intact. So with micro resting, so it's a different spin on micro quitting. And what we're not doing is quitting. What we are doing is integrating in some rest and recovery within your workday. No matter how crazy your schedule might be, this is what I want to encourage you to do. So three things. Number one, if you are feeling as though you are just panicking, or you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and you're running from one event to the next event, and you've got bags all over, you've got stuff everywhere, or you're just in that moment of just running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Do you know what I'm talking about? In these moments, you might actually feel like you can't even complete a sentence or think straight or be able to solve a problem, and you're just so scattered, and maybe you're holding your keys in your hand and you're just like, where are my keys? I can't find my keys. And you're not realizing that you're holding your keys. You were in such a state of fight or flight, and you're going so fast from one thing to the next that in this moment, I want you to stop. And I want you to just take a breath, like literally stop, take a deep breath, like woosah, just like off of the movie. I think that's Rush Hour. I think it's Rush Hour. No, it's not Rush Hour. I think it's Bad Boys too. And they're going woosah. I want you to stop. I want you to breathe. And I want you to ask, what do I need? So it's a nice little rhyme. Stop, breathe. What do I need? And in that moment, you're abruptly forcing yourself to stop in the middle of your chaos and take a breath. And what ends up happening is as you're taking a breath, you are forcing your mind to calm down for a second. And this happens instantaneous. It's not like 5 minutes you have to stop and rest and recover and meditate. No, this is like in the moment of your chaos. And your brain may be going faster than your mouth can keep up. So you start to stutter, or it's like you're stumbling. It's like your thoughts will stumble. If you're this person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And when you stop, you breathe and you ask, what do I need? It's then that you'll begin to have some basic clarity. And the basic clarity might be, oh, I'm holding my keys. Or, okay, this is what I need to do next. This is what's most important. and then you go and you do that thing. But what it's doing is it's helping your rational mind and your logical brain to start to function, because you're not thinking rationally when you're in this chaotic moment of running from one place to the next so fast, and you're just on the go, really, really. That's not serving your nervous system, and that's not serving your higher functioning and higher thinking. So people will think, well, I can't even concentrate. So moms might feel this way too. So just stop for a moment, breathe, ask, what do I need, and see what comes up for you. That's the first step into micro quit, or not micro quitting, but micro resting. So it's a small little moment, 30 seconds maximum, and you're just literally asking a simple question. But you got to breathe first, and you got to stop first. So there's some like top tips. All right. Number 2, you're at work and you get the nasty gram, or you get the, like, you've got things coming at you so fast that you can't even keep up. So you feel like you're like a whack-a-mole, and you're just like context switching and watching the emails come in and over and over and over again, and you just can't keep up. And or you're sitting there at your desk and you've got that nasty gram, or something has come in your inbox, and you can feel like the anxiety just coming up, or your blood pressure starts to increase. Some symptoms of blood pressure is where you feel like this whooshing in your ears, or you feel like your head's going to explode. That's pressure. It's pressure in your head. You might feel pressure in your chest. Anyway, so anxiety, pressure, anything that's going to trigger kind of that heightened like panic mode. Maybe you don't go into full panic attacks, but this is going to be for the people who have the anxiety. This is when you take your micro rest and you step away from your desk and you go for a walk. Walking in your building, going for a walk outside, going to just do a couple of stairs, but taking a little bit of a time to walk, even if it's 5 minutes, it doesn't have to be that long. And in that time, you're going to realize, okay, the problem gets solved. You might come up with some solutions. This is a really, really great way to micro rest in the middle of your workday. And then when you collect yourself and you come back to that email or whatever it is that you're doing, you will come back to that feeling a little bit more refreshed and a little bit more grounded. And when you're like that, then your likelihood of firing off that email that has all the nasty grams right back to the person, it will prevent that. So what you're doing is you're decreasing some friction, or decreasing some problems down the road, because you didn't quite think and respond. You just responded, and then you thought about it, and you're like, oh crap, I shouldn't have sent that. So that's another way that you can do micro resting. The final way that you can do micro resting, this is one of my favorites, and this is something that I did often in my practice, is I actually had a yoga mat in my office. I had this small, tiny, like four wall office in the business center. And what I did is I just had moments in my day. So they were 5-minute moments after lunch, and they were 5-minute moments in the morning. There were just 2 of them, so it was 10 minutes total in the day. But in those 5 minutes, I literally took off a smartwatch. I shut down the computer, turned off all the notifications, turned off the light in my office, rolled out the yoga mat, and I literally laid on that yoga mat in silence for 5 minutes. That's it. And that really, really helped rest my eyes, relax all the muscles and the tension in my shoulders and in my jaw, and really calmed my spirit down and really calmed myself down. And when that happened, I was able to get back to work and feel more refreshed. So these little techniques for micro resting or micro recovery is almost like when you're lifting weights and you get to that muscle failure and you put the weight down and you go to a different muscle group and you're working that. And then you go back to that other muscle group you were originally working, and you continue to lift the weight, and you just switch. So what you're doing is you're kind of context switching. You're giving your brain a little moment to take and put the weight down, which would be your stress weight, your family weight, whatever that is, and micro rest. And it's hugely beneficial to your productivity, to your energy, to your well-being, brings down stress, brings down blood pressure, helps you to digest, helps you to manage your blood sugar better. I mean, there's so many benefits to this concept of micro resting. So it's not quite micro quitting, because you're not quitting. You're not lessening your effort in a task. you actually will come back and be able to put in more effort because you've given yourself a little bit of a break. So I hope this was helpful for you. I'm Dr. Lexi, and this is how you get your spark back. Have a good night.